Hey there, devotioners. How are you? Welcome to That's All Devotionals. I really hope that you're doing splendiferous. We are endeavoring to wrap up our 5 series growth mindset devotion, and I am truly delighted that you joined me on this journey, and I hope that you were able to be blessed by what was presented to you and that you're going to apply it to your own individual journey. I'm so thankful for what God is going to do in your life. God is so, so good. God is so, so awesome. It is hot, but guess what? I'll rather take the heat than the cold. All right. Anyway, so we're going to jump into part 5 of our growth mindset devotional series. And today we're going to talk about growth is a journey, not a destination. Growth is a journey, not a destination. And the moment we recognize this, the better we're going to traverse the path that God has for us. It's a journey, and the journey continues after every season. Okay, we don't just come to a stop and say, oh, I'm done. No, it's a progression. So I just want to read for you today Philippians chapter 1 and verse 6. And the Bible says, being confident, be assured of this very thing, that he which began a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Being confident of this very thing, that he which had begun a good work in you shall perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. A growth mindset. This is not a destination. This is a journey. Okay? And so what we need to have is this discipline, again, this will, this drive, this tenacity to keep going. As I mentioned just a while ago, we don't just stop at when we succeed at something. We keep on going, we keep on building. And the truth of the matter is, you don't need to have it all together. None of us will have it completely all together. Okay? What most people will have is that they'll make strides. Okay? They'll just have more strides than other people. But we are not going to have it all together, and none of us do. But the beauty of growth is recognizing that every day is an opportunity to learn. That is the beauty of a growth mindset, is knowing that every day new mercies are renewed. And once his mercies are renewed, I have the opportunity to do it again. I have the opportunity to start again. I have the opportunity to get up from where I've been wallowing and try again. I have the ability to dust myself off, look the devil square in the eye and say, listen, I am not going to stay down. You may have knocked me down, but I'm not going to stay down. The referee is Jesus, and he's counting me up. That's what a growth mindset says. All right. There's an opportunity to learn. There's an opportunity to stretch. There's an opportunity to trust the process. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. You have to trust the process. And the process is God. You have to trust what he is doing in your life. You hear what I said? The process is God. Before he elevates you, he has to process you. Okay? And he uses many methods, but before you get the prize, he has to process you. So you have to trust the process, who is God. And you got to remember that God is not rushing you. He's trying to develop you, right? God is strategic in how he handles each and every one of us. Do you understand? He's very strategic. So I like to lighten the process like the potter and the clay. One of my favorite Bible stories in Jeremiah. When the Lord said to Jeremiah, go down to the potter's house. I like to liken this journey to the potter and the clay, is where the You go down to the potter's house and he begins to shape you and to mold you, right, into who he always saw in the theater of his mind. What this is really all about, devotioners, is God is trying to get us because of sin, and all the things that has happened to us. All God is trying to do is trying to get us to the point of what he saw already. That's really what it's all about. He wants you to get to where he saw in the theater of his mind when he formed you in your mother's womb. Yes, that's what it's really all about. So this journey is like a potter and the clay. And the potter is molding the clay and forming it and shaping it into something just incredible to look at, right? It's just like the gardener and the seed. He's out there digging and plowing and he's planting that seed. And, he doesn't see the germination process, but he's trusting that what he planted is going to grow and bear fruit. This is what the journey is all about. It's step by step by step by step, right? And every step comes with its own requirement. That's why you can't rush it. You have to trust it because you don't want to miss any elements of it. All right. I've been there, done that. It's going to work, right? He is developing you, and his development plan is very, very intentional. Okay. Very intentional. So every setback is a setup for growth. Every correction is a sign that God cares about you. I want to pause and say this to you because I just want to share a little bit of my own journey. In the past, back in the day, individuals would say things to me, and they would say things to me, and it would just really hurt my feelings sometimes. And it was their way of correcting me. They would say certain things to me, and I was like, oh my God, well, here we go again. And I would start to really internalize it, and I would start to feel bad and be like, oh my God, I guess I'm really an awful person, and sometimes it's the way that things were said as well. But when God, invited me on the journey, and I answered and I surrendered, I recognized that, correction was necessary, that correction was love. Correction is love. That even though they may not have said it the right way, I took it after I've been on the journey. I was able to excuse certain things and to forgive certain things and recognize, you know what? If God didn't love me, he would not have highlighted that flawed area in my life. He would not have highlighted that little thing in my life, that thing that I wanted to overlook and think, it's not such a big deal. But those little things, they grow into big things, right? And so I had to learn that his love was correction. Right? And he may not have told the people who told me to say it the way that they did, but you know what? I took it and I ran with it. And I came back to God and I said, God, here's what I just heard about me. And Lord, help me to fix it. And before, I would cry and I would just feel bad about myself. But after I went on the journey, I said, God, well, here is something they brought up to me. Can you help me to handle it? Can you help me to fix it? And let me tell you, he did. And it wasn't always easy sailing, but he did. And then I would hear something else again. and instead of me saying, well, here we go again, I said, all right, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate you telling me. Yep, for those who did, they can attest to this. I said, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I really appreciate it. And I took it to prayer. And I said, God, here is something else that was brought up. And every time I took it back to God, And I went on the wheel, the potter's wheel, and he began to mold and he began to shape and he began to rub up. Oh, he did a work. And there are times, and you hear me say it many times in devotion, ouch, 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 ouch. It was ouch. But you know what? It was a part of the becoming. It was a part of the evolving. It was just a part of the growing. It was just a part of God's plan. God says, listen, we got to work out some of those kinks, okay? We got to work out some of those kinks. I know that you may not have liked it. I know it wasn't said correctly. Not that it hurt your feeling, but guess what? We're on a journey. I'm taking you somewhere. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Don't internalize it. Don't let it get into your system and your psyche and pull you down. Just let's go. Just say ouch, okay? And that was what God was doing. So sometimes on the journey, some people are going to come and they're going to say that you're selfish, and they're going to say you're full of pride, and they're going to say, whatever it is, okay? Take it to God in prayer. Say, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for highlighting this in my life. Thank you. And sometimes you're having a ball, you're smiling, and somebody come and just say something to you and may have dampened your spirit. That's all right. Take it to God and say, God, here it is. All right, I overlooked this morning. I said something 10 years ago that this person decided to bring back to my attention. Right now, I thought it was over. I thought it was done. All right, God, here it is. I'm really, really sorry. God, help me to fix it. Help me not to repeat this. And that's what I have done over the few years. Just bring it back to God, because it's a part of the becoming. It's a part of the growing. And what I know about God, the journey, though it will be filled with trials, setbacks, delays, detours, listen to me. None of it will be wasted. None of it will be wasted. God has a way. Let me tell you something. He's not intimidated by our flaws. He's not intimidated or turned off by our mistakes. You want me to tell you? I'm not telling you that he's happy and he's doing backflips in heaven, when we misbehave. But it doesn't take him off guard. It doesn't take him off course. It doesn't change how he feels about us, right? He may have to obviously discipline us, reprove us, all that kind of stuff. But he doesn't turn up his nose up against us, right? He's not surprised by our failures. He's not surprised when we fall. No, he is not. He has a way of weaving all those awkward stages and moments in our lives. He has a way of using those silent seasons in our lives. He has a way of interrupting our lives when we want to quit. He just has a way of working it all together. He just has a way of just like the scripture said, he just has a way of working it all together for your good. For your good. The question was asked the other day, why do you think that God doesn't answer certain prayers? And I can tell you one of the reasons, and we don't talk about this. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about it. But one of the reasons why God sometimes doesn't answer our prayers immediately is because, and I've learned this over the years, is that while God is working on you, he's working on somebody else. And God doesn't want to judge or pronounce judgment on somebody, just like you don't want God to pronounce judgment on you. And God is sometimes just working it out. He's saying that person, let's correct some things, let's work some things out. He's trying to do the same thing to somebody else, just like he's doing you. right? And he knows that this person's a part of your destiny. He know that this person and you are going to collide. And so he's working some things out in them. So when you meet, when you intersect, talking some math terms now, is that you both will be on the same page, right? And I tell you, I said, God, you're something else, He knows how to work it out for your good. And the same way he's trying to work it out for that person's good. That's why mercy and grace is extended. Right? Yes, sometimes you're upset with what that person does, and sometimes you want God to just strike them. But you got to understand, the same way he didn't strike you. He didn't strike you. Because while he's working on you, he's giving you another chance. He's extended grace, right? He's not judging you as your sin deserves. And I find that some of the reasons why he doesn't answer a certain prayer is because he knows who's a part of your story, and he's working on them as well. And so he delays certain things until they can get it together, right? And when they don't, he moves on and he does his thing. But half the time, if you look at your story intricately, you begin to see, right? So he's not intimidated by that, right? He has a way. And you may say to yourself, I'm not where I want to be. Change that language. Change that language. And say, you know what? I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm on my way there. I may not be what I see in my dreams and my visions yet, but I'm on my way there. If I just keep journeying on, I'm gonna get there. That's what you got to tell yourself. That's what you got to speak into yourself, right? So God has a way of using the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, because there's some things that were ugly in our lives. Oh, things that were yucky and just gross, grotesque. But he has a way. And that's what I love about my God. He has a way of turning it all around and weaving everything together into something that's just breathtaking and spectacular and magnificent to look at. It's going to be what? Marvelous in our eyes. He has a way of using the broken pieces of our lives and make it into a beautiful mosaic. Have you ever seen a mosaic? I like to go to the museum, and somebody was saying to me, "Oh my God, I'm learning so much things about you. I didn't know that you were like you like certain things. You're unassuming." I like a lot of things, and I do a lot of things. In my free time, I visit museums when I can. I like beautiful things. I like art. I really, really do like art. I sketch a little bit. I'm not a full blown drawer, illustrator, but I can sketch little things. I write, when I'm really in that mood and in that phase. I love poetry. I used to write poetry. I need to get back to writing poetry again. I found some the other day in one of my journals, some of the poetries that I used to write. I was like, oh my God, some of them I was really in some dark places. Some of them were beautiful, talked about nature, but I need to get back to it because it's been a while. But God has a way of just using those broken pieces of our lives and just make them into just beautiful mosaic. He just has a way of just weaving our lives together and make something beautiful of it. Hence the reason why I love that song. He made something beautiful of my life. He knows how to use every scar, every joy, every tear, every pain, every hurt, every disappointment. God, he knows how to just stitch it into this beautiful tapestry. and it's, to everybody else, it's so beautiful, but when you look, you can say, ah, that's my pain, that's my hurt, that's my joy, that's something that I laughed at, that's that season in my life, that dark season in my life. That's a time, I mean, you know the stitches when you look at the tapestry, and everybody's like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. I love quilts. I also really, really love quilts. Because I love how they piece all things together. I love those kind of things. But that's the same thing that God does. He uses every detour, every delay, everything, and he stitches it together into this beautiful tapestry. And he calls it a masterpiece. I'm telling you, you are a masterpiece in the making, honey. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You are a masterpiece in the making. Hence, I just want to remind you that this growth mindset says this is not a destination. This is a journey. God is making you. God is fashioning you. God is likening you unto himself. God is just doing something beautiful, magnificent, awesome in your life. Trust him and let him complete the work. He that has begun a good work in you shall perform it. He shall complete it. It shall come to fruition. You just have to allow God to complete it. Don't get off the wheel. Stay on the wheel. Stay on the wheel. And if he put you on the shelf until he says that you're done, stay on the shelf. Don't run off and say, oh, I'm ready to be used, I'm ready for sale. No, let him finish and let him look and say, oh my goodness, look at her, look at where she's coming from, and look at her now. I think God does that. I mean, I have my children, and I watch their daddy with them, and especially the girls, and he does it with the son. He's like, man, you're handsome, man. Look at you, especially when you're done dressing them. He said, look at you, and he calls the girls beautiful and gorgeous and princesses and ladies. We like to use that term. I call my oldest a lady because she's so ladylike from a little bit. But when you're done, like, wow. And I think that's the same way. I learned so much about God from being a parent. It's just like, wow, just magnificent. Look at what came out of you. And in those moments, the flawed areas of your children, but you're not looking at their flawedness at that time. You're not looking at about the time when they misbehave, or they may have told a lie, or you're not looking at that. You're looking at it all together, and you're like, wow, that's my girl. Wow, that's my son. I believe that God does the same thing. And I believe that God is doing the same thing. So he just has a way of doing it. And nothing is wasted in God's hands. Nothing is wasted in the hands of the Lord. And so I just want to encourage you today. Stay on the journey. Stay in your blocks. Stay on the track. Stay on the court. Stay in the pool. I don't know what your field is. Stay where God has ordained you. And just let him do his thing inside of you, right? Stop striving. Hear me carefully. Stop striving to arrive. And this is something that I had to learn. And because somebody really, really, really puts it on me, I think last year actually really laid it out for me. And I was like, ah! They said, listen, you have come a far way and you need to celebrate the small wins. Don't wait for you to finish this and that. And I've started to incorporate that in my life, where I just become celebratory of the small things in my life and the small accomplishments, and looking at the setbacks as a way to step up, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Celebrate the small wins. It may not be ice cream, but do something to celebrate, and I'm learning to do that. And the more, and when I attain, the bigger thing that I'm going after, I'm more appreciative, I'm more grateful, and I'm not just looking, okay, done that, well, next, what's next? I really stay in the zone. So I encourage you to do the same thing. And something that's very, very important as well, don't try to compare. This is your journey. This is your individual journey. And I was guilty of this. So I'm telling you, don't compare your chapter 2 with somebody else's chapter 15. I was doing that. I was doing it by age. And I was saying, my God, my age now, I should have been done with this already. I should have, I shouldn't be here. And then you're talking to somebody, in the field, and you're having this discourse, and you just happen to be the same age, and you're like, okay. I'm just telling you the truth. You're like, oh, so she is that age and have accomplished all of this already, and you're just trying to come up at this age, and so you compare, not realizing that their paths were different. Maybe their support system was different. Maybe they made certain sacrifices that you didn't make, or you didn't know to make. So there's so many. It's so nuanced that you cannot judge somebody else's chapter by where you are. Do you understand me? Don't do it. I mean, I've been guilty of that. I'm just telling you the truth. I was not even that long ago. And when I sat down with one of my mentors, and they're like, girl, no, 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 no. You've come so far. You've accomplished so much. And they began to highlight some of the things that I've done. So I'm like, whoa, I really actually did this. Actually did these things. So I just encourage you, don't compare your chapter 2 with somebody else's chapter 10. Don't do it. It's going to drive you crazy. Okay? Don't do it. All right? But instead, ask yourself, what did I learn today, and how can I grow? And that's what I've done. I'm telling you what I've done. Ask yourself, how can I grow? How can I have this person be an asset? How can I use this person as an asset to me, to help me? And my thing is always this, and I try to do this in my everyday life, reach my hand back and grab somebody. So while somebody's holding my hand over here, I'm holding somebody else's hand over there, and I'm trying to pull somebody up as I'm going up. I'm trying to pull people up. So what did I learn, and what can I teach? What can I learn? What did I learn? What can I teach? And so this is the reason why I wanted to do this growth mindset series, because the journey tough, but you know what? It's worth going on. It's worth going on. And I realize that the real win is not perfection. It's really progression. It's really progression, is looking back and saying, my goodness, I am not in that boat anymore. I am not in the boat of comfort anymore. I am not there anymore. I am on the water. Yes, the water is choppy. Yes, the waves are high. Yes, the wind is blowing. It's boisterous. It's but guess who's on the water? Jesus is on the water. And that's where I'm going to keep walking, because that's where he is. That's where his voice is. That's where his command is. That's where I heard to come, and that's where I'm walking. And so when you get into that mindset, you look at the boat and say, you know what? I can't go back to you. I cannot come back to you. I cannot. The only time I'm coming back is when Jesus and I walk back. But right now, I am just going to walk on this water. It feels like my enemy. The water feels like my enemy. But you know what? It's where God called me to walk. And that's a word right there. Because sometimes the places that God calls you to walk, the places that God is calling you to feels like it's an enemy. Feels like it's the devil. Because why would God tell me to walk on water? No. Why would he tell me to come out here? And for somebody like me, why are you asking me to come out in the deep? And you know my limitations. And you know what I'm comfortable over here. I know what I can do over here, and I will shine over here. But why you calling me out? Why? because he knows what's inside of you. And that's the beauty of it. He's the one who knows. So don't go on your own. Go when he calls you. Don't let anybody talk you into anything. That's why some of us are having so much hangups and disappointments as well, because we're letting people talk us into things that God did not call us to. And some of us do not have the guts to say, you know what? I'm walking away from this because this is not what this is not what God has called me to. So I'm going to step away and let the person who God has called to step up. Okay. Some of us don't have the guts. And so we're frustrating ourselves. We don't find the grace to do it, but we're just doing it just because. And it's a terrible place to be in. I'm telling you, it's a terrible place to be. When you're not in the will, you heard the statement? The safest place to be is in the will of God. Get in the will of God and don't let nobody talk you into anything. Because some people, man, I'm telling you, they're good. They're good. They're good. And sometimes they mean well, But you have to know this is not what God has for me. And so therefore I am not. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And I'm telling you, when you start to grow, God will give you the eye for the person or persons who's supposed to do that thing. Because then you realize it's no longer about me. What does the proverb say? If you want to go fast, go what? Alone. But if you want to go far, go what? Together. It's a team effort. It's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay. And the more we recognize it, the better, the more results we're going to see. Right? So do what God called you to do, my friend. All right. So let God's timing, and this is very important, let God's timing be your peace. I was talking to somebody this past weekend, she texted me and we were talking about something, somebody in New York, and we're talking about something about patience. I was like, my God, I thought I was patient before. I thought that was one of my virtues, but my God, I've learned patience in the last 5 months, like nobody's business, man. The fruit of the spirit. What? What? Oh, I'm not antsy. I'm not rushing. I was like, and the person was like, yeah, I'm proud of you because I thought that you were going to harass me about this project or whatever. But I just said, you know what? Let God do his thing. Let God do his thing. And when God does it, it's going to be well done. And that's just it. So let God's timing be your peace. And listen, his promise, let it be your motivation. Let it be your motivation. Like, listen, I have something that I'm going toward, right? Let it motivate you to get up and to be disciplined and to fight and to sacrifice and to let it be your motivation. Let the prize, and my prize that I'm talking about. Listen, I'm not talking about no earthly things right now. I'm talking about heavenly things. I want to wear a crown, man. I want that. I want my crown. And that's what I'm after. That's my motivation. That's my life's motivation, man. One day I'm going to wear a crown. It's gonna be more dazzling than the Queen of England. It's gonna be more dazzling and spectacular and sparkling than what Princess Di wore. Or listen, it's just going to be incredible, and I'm waiting for that crown. That's my motivation, right? So I'm done. Just don't give up. Keep on going. Be patient as you grow. Ask the Lord to help you see the beauty in the process. Remind yourself every day that if you stumble, get back up again. It's a journey, not a destination. It's not about perfection. It's about progression. All right. Continue to grow in humility and in God's grace. All right. And do your thing for God. Do your thing for God. And that's what I have to say to you today in this wrap up of our growth mindset series. Don't compare yourself. Speak faith in your life. Encourage yourself. Encourage others. Just keep on going. And you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. And once one season is over, the other one will begin. Celebrate the small wins. Be thankful. Express gratitude over where you have come, and Just get excited for where you are going, and know that a part of the journey, you're going to experience trials. There's no erasing that. There is no eradicating that. I will not diminish that in our devotion. You are going to experience trials. You're going to experience betrayal. You're going to experience setback. You are going to. It's inevitable. This is what's going to happen to you. But guess what? If you push, if you persevere, you will overcome. You will overcome. And don't render evil for evil. You know, just do good. Just be righteous. And I know that word is simply means to do what is right. Just be righteous, do what is right. Even when it's hard, turn the other cheek, give the cloak. Just do what you got to do, and just know that, hey, I am going to answer to God. And that is something that I live by these days, especially. It's just become, my mantra. I alone, I'm going to have to give an account to God. I cannot give an account for you. You cannot give an account for me. Only me alone responsible for my life, for my destiny, right? And so I cannot allow anybody to drag me in and drag me out, and I cannot. I'm going to speak about what is wrong, and I'm going to just do my part, play my part. And that's all you have to do. All right. And God is making something quite fantastic of your life. Speak in faith. Don't speak doubt. Don't speak negativity. Even when it's on the tip of your tongue, say bop, 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 and just begin to speak the word of God. Many of us are not at the place where we're supposed to be, is because we're trying to have defeat and success at the same time. I mean, you don't think about it like that, but that's really what is. I like to be practical. I like to just give it to you raw. You cannot have defeat and success at the same time. You have to choose. You're gonna have to choose. And the same energy that you exert to do negative and to speak negative, man, do the reverse, and you'll see where you end up. You'll see what you become. And just get the word of God, get the promises of God at the forefront of your mind. Do whatever you have to do. Make the sacrifices. I talked to you about think like an athlete. The things that they do, I'm telling you. And I was sharing this with one of my mentees this just recently. The things that athletes do to be at the top of their game. And I was saying, what if we as believers would recognize that God has placed something phenomenal inside of us? And if we would go after it just like they do, oh my goodness, what would happen? We would turn our world upside down. We won't be talking about some of the things that we're talking about, because we'll be at such a level, at such a place. I mean, I heard, and I'll close with this. I'm going to really close with this. I heard Rafael Nadal said in an interview not too long ago, and he's since retired from tennis. He said, if you're not willing, if you tell yourself that you are not going to sacrifice, then you have already told yourself your chances are slim, in a nutshell. And I was like, over a racket and a ball. He said, if you are not willing to sacrifice it all, then why show up at the game? And I was blown away. I'm gonna get the exact quote, but that's around what he said. If you tell yourself this is too much to sacrifice, then what's the sense of showing up at the game? Because then you're going to be mediocre. And who wants to be mediocre? And I was blown away. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this dude, and I'm like, over a tennis racket and a ball. That's his passion. And I was like, wow. I heard Shelly-Ann Fraser, I think it's in the newspaper actually. I heard, she's going back to, I think Tokyo, for the World Championship game. And she said, I already know what I have to tweak, what I have to fix to perform at an accelerated level, because she knows, one, she knows her competition, but she's not worried about what Tiana Clayton, I don't know if I don't know what the sister's name by heart. I think one of them qualified, the other one didn't, but one of them, she's not concerned about what what's her name, Alfred, that girl from St. Lucia. She's not worried about her even country woman Sharika Jackson. She knows they're in the field. She knows that she knows it's going to be competition. But what is she concerned about? The things that I have to tweak to compete, to come out on top in Tokyo, where she first started her career. And that's the mindset. That's the mindset. I know that everybody else is in the race. I know who's in my field, and I'm trying to learn everybody in my field. But guess what? I know what I have to work on. And if all of us could get that mindset, if all of us could get that mindset, I know what I got to do. I know what I got to tweak. I know what I got to fix. I'm telling you, it's our walks would be just so much different. And I look and I said, no wonder Paul likened our walk with God as a race. It's a race. It's an individual race, right? It's a race that you have to run. It's a race that you have to compete in. You, and your competition is yourself. And I love it. I love it. I love every minute of it. And I draw inspiration from many athletes. And all I sit down sometimes and I said to myself, over a basketball, over a tennis ball, over a football, over a soccer ball, over a netball. I mean, you name it. They're willing because they have their eyes on a prize. They give it their all. Over a baseball, you name it. They give their lives for it. They dedicate themselves. They're disciplined. They don't eat certain ways. They don't stay up past certain hours. Their time and devotion is dedicated on practicing and becoming better. Right? Hold on. Right? Their dedication is to their craft, is to their profession, is to their what they're called to do, And some people are concerned about just being competitors, and others are concerned about being winners. They want their names in the Hall of Fame. They want their names in the championship book. They want their name in history. They want their Hollywood Walk of Fame. I mean, I'm just saying, and this is for vain things, This is for earthly things. This is for tangible things. And there's nothing wrong with achieving things. There's nothing wrong with, achieving your goals. There's nothing wrong with that naturally. But if we could ever think about this spiritually, my God. Woo! So I'm done. Growth mindset. It's a wrap, my friends. And, I'm here to support you any way that I can. I think I'm spontaneous with my time sometimes when I'm just trying to help people. But if I could be of help to you, certainly reach out, and I'll definitely do my best. And if I can't help you, I'll direct you to somebody else who can. But I just wish for you all the best, and I just believe that God has great things in store for you. You just have to own it, and if you can own it, you'll possess it. All right. If you can own what God wants to do in your life, you'll be able to possess it and eventually dispense it to help other people. All right. God bless you, keep you, and cause His great face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you, grant you peace, the peace that passes all understanding. It is not a destination; it is a journey. Talk soon. Bye now.